The VCAL PD presents Movie Talk Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the 2Sweet movie show. It's Thursday, the 3rd of May. We have the movies releasing today. The new Aussie movie, Breath. Now, Breath is basically starring Simon Baker, who you've known from The Mentalist, which has been on the 9 network for a couple of years. And it's a story which is based on Tim Winton's best-selling novel. And it's set in mid-70s coastal Western Australia. And it's about two teenage boys. They're hungry for discovery. And they form an unlikely friendship with a mysterious old adventurer who pushes them to take risks that will have a lasting and profound impact on their lives. Now, it's directed by Simon Baker. It's his directorial debut, and people are expecting it to be big, you know. And then it also stars Elizabeth Debicki and Richard Roxburgh. Now, Elizabeth Debicki has been in Peter Rabbit, so she's had a couple of good movies at the start of the year. So it's expecting to be big for Roadshow Films. Another film you've got out this week is Broken. Now, this released in 2018, earlier this year in New Zealand, but now Australia has time to catch it. It's in sort of limited release, so I don't think it's near me, but some people will be able to get to watch it in the theatre. So it's about an ex-gang leader, and he must choose between forgiveness or revenge when his daughter is murdered by an old rival gang in Kiwi filmmaker Terry Mortlock's debut. So the tale is inspired by the true New Zealand story of a young girl who was murdered by a marauding tribe in the mid-1800s. Now, I don't really know who stars in it. It's not famous people because, you know, we don't normally get many Kiwi films, but it's a good thing to actually get them in Australia. So basically it's just like this crime drama type of thing, and it's expecting to be quite good here. So hopefully it will do well. There's another movie out this week. You've got The Gateway. Now, I don't think that's near me either. It could be, I think it's a type of artsy film, so you see it around the Palace cinemas, not Village or Hoyts. But I wouldn't mind seeing it. I heard it's quite impressive. It's a interesting setup. I think it's an Australian sci-fi movie. It just came out today. So it's about Jacqueline Mackenzie, who you've known from 3 Summers, and she is a particle physicist, and she travels to a parallel world to find her late husband in the award-winning Australian sci-fi. So I think this has already been to lots of film festivals, but now it's finally getting released here in a big release. So basically, after her husband is killed in a car crash, physicist Jane Chandler, who's played by Mackenzie, finds a way to travel to a parallel world where she finds an alternate version of her husband, but their version of her deceased husband reveals himself to be a very different man, a soldier. He carries a strange deadly weapon and has a temper that can erupt at any moment. It soon becomes clear that she has made a terrible mistake, and now she must find a way to defeat him and save her family. That does look promising. It's got Hayley McInerney. Isn't she been in Doctor or Love Child? So that's a big start. And it's from the director of The Reckoning. Now, that's been on Channel 10 a couple of times. I know it stars the host of Australian Survivor. Can't really think of his name at the moment. Another movie out this week, you've got The Throw. Now, this is a Chinese movie. It's not out in many cinemas, but wouldn't mind seeing it because I don't have anything against them. It's actually a Hong Kong crime thriller, and it's about an undercover cop who's trying to take down a boss. Now, if you're known from Nick Chong's previous work, he made Keeper of Darkness, Ghost Rituals, and he also written and directed this film and stars in the film as well. So yeah, it's a Chinese and Hong Kong film. So now I want to talk about Avengers Infinity War. I saw it Sunday, so I saw it a couple of days ago, and I really did enjoy it. There are good things about this film, and this film is really exciting, and if you're a Marvel fanatic, You're going to have a bloody good time. I tell you, it was exciting to watch in the cinemas. It was really good, Avengers Infinity War. And it's been expected because people have been waiting for this big movie for months. Or most fans have been waiting for years, and now they finally get to see all their big Marvel characters on the big screen. Now, yeah, so it just got released. It was last Wednesday. Yeah, it got released on Anzac Day. And obviously I couldn't record my program because, I was a bit busy in Anzac Day and couldn't be able to record it. But, yeah, we got to talk about this because it really is an amazing film. So basically, it's an action adventure fantasy, and it's quite long. Like, some people will not be able to handle the length of this film. It goes for about 2 hours and 30 minutes, so it's about... And if you're a Marvel fanatic, yep, you got to stay for the end credits because, you got to stay because all Marvel movies have end credits at the end. Most of them. And yeah, on my session, the whole cinema was just went quiet because the ending's quite shocking and it's quite confronting but quite surprising. I'm not going to spoil. This is a free spoiler review of the film. I just want people to just enjoy this film as much as they can and avoid the spoilers. So basically the story goes, as the Avengers and their allies have continued to protect the world from threats too large for any hero to handle, a new danger has emerged from the cosmic shadows. Thanos, who's played by Josh Brolin, a despot of intergalactic infamy. His goal is to collect all 6 Infinity Stones, artifacts of unimaginable power, and use them to inflict his twisted will on all reality. And then everything the Avengers have fought for has led up to this moment. The fate of Earth and existence itself has never been more uncertain. Now, this is a really big film. I really did enjoy lots of things about this film. I'm going to start talking about lots of things I enjoyed about it. Now, yeah, the marketing campaign, they've been hyping this up all over TV, all over social media. So everyone's been waiting for this date, waiting for the date for Infinity War to come out. And then when finally I got to see it, I was hyped, and it did exceed my expectations. It was spectacular in words. It was very spectacular. It's a spectacle. I mean, it's a box office smash and an epic smash in all ways. And the thing is, it's already broken lots of big records. So it's a really big film. And if you're familiar with the Marvel Universe, all your characters come back, which is the exciting thing. This film starts off with a bang. It establishes so many characters and so many massive action pieces. It is an achievement for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in my opinion. And Josh Brolin, who plays Thanos, he does a good job at playing a really bad villain. And sometimes you actually do like him because he's a likable villain type of thing. He's a good actor, in my opinion. I do like him. And you've also got, Bruce Banner. It's played by Mark Ruffalo. He's a funny guy in this film as well. He's a very funny guy. And Doctor Strange is back, who is played by Benedict Cumberbatch. I was excited to see him back on the screen because I actually saw the Doctor Strange movie in theaters and really did enjoy it. And yes, you've got Tony Stark, who's back as Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man. This is spectacular. He has fun with this one. So basically, this movie follows the events of Captain America: Civil War, which was actually on TV last Saturday. So I'm sure some of you would have saw it on TV recently. So as you know, there's been threat and fate and divide between all the team. And it was amazing to see an entry by the Guardians of the Galaxy in this film. So yeah, you get to see Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper, and Dave Bautista. And that was a really funny scene. I'm not spoiling anything, but it was a really funny scene, and I laughed so much. Their part in this film was hilarious. It was really good, and they brought their charm of pop culture references and all this thing, which they all did in the volume 2 and also the first film. It's just a really exciting film, but to be honest, the tone's very dark. It's not like a light film like some of the other ones. This does get pretty dark, but not dark like you can't take your children to see it, but just story-wise, it's a bit dark. And what I liked about it had really funny humour in the film. It was really hilarious at times, and yeah, you also do shed a tear. And as you can expect, the effects are stunning because they have a massive budget for Avengers and stuff, and they always pull it off with special effects and all these things. It's just great, and basically it shows in every eye-popping action sequence you see. You're just mesmerized by the screen. I actually saw it in VMAX, so you get the Dolby experience, you get the full 4K UHD experience right on the screen. I mean, it was good. And you know, the Russo brothers, they go and direct this film, and they direct it in very good ways. They've both done it in brilliant ways, this film. It's just a massive. I mean, it's not to be missed. You can't miss this film, and I know not many people are gonna miss it. It's one of the most biggest films like in a couple of years. And as they've been saying, like, this movie will blow your mind and break your heart and make you desperate to go back for more. Brave, brilliant, and better than it has any right to be. So, you know, like, it's been amazing because, like, over the past decade, Marvel has earned itself the benefit of the doubt. The studio has delivered smart, funny, brave films that both embrace and transcend their comic book origins. The 18 blockbuster movies produced since Iron Man first blasted off into the stratosphere in 2008. And those were 3 amazing films, Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3. They're both crowd pleasers, and they were very exciting on the screen. And then in recent times, we got some big Marvel films. Last year in October, we got to see Thor Ragnarok, and I had a good time with it, as it was directed by Taika Waititi, who made Hunt for Wilder People, and he delivered in this film. It was done really nicely. And Black Panther, as it was a bit, in my opinion, it's really overrated. It was fun, but it wasn't the best Marvel movie I've seen. But it was still pretty good, Black Panther. I did enjoy it, but it's not the best thing. And yeah, this is just great filmmaking at its best, you know. It's I know it has an IMDb rating of 9.1 out of 10, and you can see why. This film is mesmerizing and all this stuff. It's everything you know Marvel can do. Like, they lift your spirits, they blow your mind, they shatter your soul, occasionally in the same scene. That's what they're known for. And they've got a massive achievement for this. It's just so powerful, this film. It's very powerful. You know, the special effects, the choreographed action scenes, those are the most important bits of this film. And they all work because it's anchored by the hearts, humor, and humanity of its characters. Yes, to start off the film, they put effort into, like, establishing characters, and some movies don't do that, so they ruin films. But this film actually just did it. They mastered it, right? And this film is a bit sad because your favourite characters die. I'm not going to name them because otherwise I'm saying a spoiler. And destruction happens, obviously, you've seen by the trailer. So it's just a really big film. It's big. It's really big, and I did have a great time with it. I thought it was, like, truly funny, and Peter Quill, he steals the performance. It's Chris Pratt. He's just brilliant in the role. And so is Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor. Oh, he's so good. And then you've got, there's also Peter Parker as Tom Holland. I forgot to mention him. Oh, they were amazing, yep. Like the bond between Tony Stark and Peter Parker, that was done really nicely. It was a heartbreaking human moment that threaded throughout the film because of the charming surrogate father-son dynamic shared by the characters. And that was very excellent. And there you go, like, you also get to see Steve Rogers in the film, played by Chris Evans, which was very fun scene to see it when he comes out and stuff. It was very exciting. And as you know, you got Gamora, Zoe Saldana, and Nebula as Karen Gillan. So you got lots of big characters in this film. Lots of massive characters. And even you've got Don Cheadle's in it as well. You've got Samuel Jackson in it. It's got some massive people. It's really excellent. Excellent film. And it's the 19th MCU film. They've got so many stars in it, and like, you just get out the popcorn because it's excellent, and it's also nicely done. It's very nicely. It's done well. Okay, I think I'll finish off my Avengers Infinity War review. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Yes, because it is spectacular on screen, and you never think, that wasn't done well, because half of the film's done well. Like, most of the film is done perfectly, and there may have been a couple of scenes which were, some people don't like that Star Wars type of vibe, but I didn't mind it. It didn't worry me. But lots of comic book fans will love those parts, but if you're not a comic book fan, you may not like some of the parts in the film. But I certainly did. I really did think it was an enjoyable film, and I think it's a good film to take your kids to on a Friday night and just have fun, be in the theatre for 3 hours, and you're just glued to the screen. You don't take your eyes off the screen. That's how good it is. It's a masterpiece in my opinion. It's done really nicely, and it's those big Marvel movies, they always deliver. And this one doesn't disappoint, people. It just improves the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In recent times, they've been delivering us powerful films. Just powerful film after film. And they don't disappoint. They just keep improving keep improving themselves. And I think for years and years and years, they're going to improve themselves and improve and improve and improve. And we're going to see that because we're going to get some more Marvel movies on our way. There's actually Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I saw the trailer in Avengers, which is actually coming out next month. And not next month, I think 2 months or something. But it's going to be a big film, and it's also going to be a hit. And then you've got the 20th Century Fox film, Deadpool 2. That's also going to be big because Deadpool's not a bad movie. It's certainly the first one delivered, and lots of people want the next one to be a hit, Deadpool 2. So there's big anticipation for it. But because they changed the director, sort of people are doubting it, but I think it'll certainly be enjoyable. And it actually does star Taika Waititi. Oh no, the star in the film, and he was also in Paper Planes, the Kiwi actor. I forgot his name, but he's very good. He's a very good actor, and I never really hated his work. He's just a funny type of guy and funny young type of actor, and he delivered it. If you've seen that ad, Rachel Pickham, it's quite a comedy. Okay, I think I'll wrap up my Avengers Infinity War review. Another film out at the moment, you've got Last Flag Flying. Now this is expected to be quite good. I think it came out last week, and no, it won't disappoint because I haven't seen it yet. I may get the chance to see it. I'm not actually too sure, but I actually am excited by the preview because it does look like it will be a nicely driven film. So basically, it stars Academy Award nominees Bryan Cranston, Steve Carell, and Lawrence Fishburne, and they are reunited war veterans, and it's from the director of Boyhood, which was actually quite critically acclaimed, Richard Linklater. So basically, the story goes in 2003, 30 years after they served together in the Vietnam War, former Navy Corps medic Larry, who's played by Doc Shepard, who plays Steve Carell, and he reunites with his ex-Marine Sal Nealon, Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad, and Reverend Richard Mueller, played by Lawrence Fishburne, as we know, and he's been big in recent years, and he won't disappoint in this film, obviously. So basically, on a different type of mission to bury Doc's son, a young Marine killed in the Iraq War, Doc decides to forego burial at Arlington Cemetery, and with the help of his old buddies, takes the casket on a bittersweet trip up the east coast to his home in suburban New Hampshire. Along the way, Doc, Sal, and Mueller reminisce and come to terms with shared memories of the war that continue to shape their lives. So basically, this is going to be a funny drama about these three guys, and they both served in the war, and they hadn't seen each other for a while. So they're basically reuniting with them. I gotta say, it's gonna be quite a powerful film. You've got Steve Carell, who's really funny. You've got Lawrence Fishburne, who we actually see in lots of good films recently. And then you got Bryan Cranston, most known for Breaking Bad, where he succeeded and got fans from there, and he's moved on to be in lots of popular movies. So he won't disappoint in the film at all. He'll just improve himself or just be at the same pace of what he does before. And I think, it's doing alright at the theatres, but I don't think it's getting many people as usual. Alright, I'll finish up my talk on Last Flag Flying. And now I'm going to talk about Unsane. Now, Unsane is basically telling a story. Claire Foy, who you saw in Breath, they're a bit and so basically she's committed to a mental institution in this horror entirely on her cell phone. So basically, this is filmed on an iPhone 8, this film, and it's from the director who made Erin Brockovich, Side Effects, Contagion, and there was The Informant, I think. Yeah, he's made lots of films. Steven Soderbergh. He also made Logan Lucky, which is out last year. So basically, she once committed. She's confronted by her greatest fear, but is it real or is it a product of her delusion? I think this film was sort of mildly successful in theatres, and it's still out now, but probably will be in its last week because I don't think it's doing that well, but I wouldn't mind seeing it because it's actually got a cameo from Matt Damon. He plays one of the police investigators or something, but he won't be in it for that long. It also stars Juno Temple, and it's like a horror thriller type of thing. Yep. Alright, now I'll just finish my talk on Unsane. Now I'll review Super Troopers 2, which I actually saw about 2 weeks ago, I reckon, and it was done nicely, I'd say. It was a really good film. Even though I haven't seen the original, I sort of could get the gist of what the second one was going to be, and I know that now. I'm not sure if I'll go see the first one, because I wouldn't mind seeing it, but I may see it soon. Haven't really made up my mind though. But it is done nicely. The second one was quite funny, but I'm only judging this review on the second one because I haven't seen the first one. So basically, it's a comedy crime mystery. It's out in limited release now. So basically, the comedy cult classic is back for a new adventure. It's just fun. There's not really a plot line to it, but it's very funny at times. And once again, it's directed by J. Chandrasekhar, who I believe is Canadian. And he also directed the first film and many other films starring the same cast in Beer Fest and Club Dread. He also directed the comedy The Dukes of Hazzard, which stars Johnny Knoxville, Sean William Scott, and Jessica Simpson. I think I have seen it, and it was quite good. And he also writes the film under the name Broken Lizard. So basically the whole team, they just write the film together and everything. So basically the team you love to back, you've got Jay Chandrasekhar playing Thorny, Kevin Heffernan playing the hilarious but stupid father, Steve LeMay playing Mac, and Paul Soter playing Foster. So basically the film starts with an opening scene featuring a rock band and a shootout on a bus involving the police. And then we find out the officers got fired from their old department because of an incident. So they have moved on to their new jobs. And then the guys receive a call from their former boss, Captain O'Hagan, played by Brian Cox. And they find out that a small town in Canada is actually on American land. And then they've been offered their jobs back. And then while they're working on their jobs, two cops, Thorny and Foster, played by Jay Chandrasekhar and Paul Soter. So basically they find this lake house where they discover drugs and counterfeit mobile phones. And then the Canadian police pull a prank on the Super Troopers where they put a bear in their station. So this film is quite good. It co-stars the charming Genevieve Orbis, played by Emmanuel Chiric, Ursula, played by Marisa Coglan, Governor Jessman, played by Linda Carter, Guy LaFranc, played by Rob Lowe, and also cameo appearances by Trooper Callaghan, played by Sean William Scott, who actually is in Dukes of Hazzard, and Trooper Wagner Damian Waynes Jr., who is known for New Girl and also Let's Be Cops. The bus driver is played by Clifton Collins Jr., who's also well known, and it also stars Lonnie Loash. It stars Paul Walter Hauser playing Lonnie Lelouch, and if you're not familiar with Paul Walter Hauser, he actually played Derek in that comedy, not really comedy, but black, true story, drama, I, Tonya. Now, this film's quite crude at times. I would say it's suited for a late teen and adult audience, and the movie doesn't really drag much at the end. It just ends at the right time. You'll get good fun in this film involving mysteries and crime. And Jay Chandrasekhar does a good job in direction, and writing by Broken Lizard is very funny, and most of the jokes land. Also, the editing is standard sometimes, and the fans of the original would be really excited to see they have returned. Not that great overall. The movie is funny, very funny, which makes it a likeable film, which involves big stars, laughs, mysteries, and guns, pranks, and exciting shootouts. So it's distributed by Fox Searchlight Pictures, who also made Isle of Dogs and Slumdog Millionaire and all those type of films. So I think it's doing okay in the theatre, but I think this week's its last week. And also you stay after the after credits, because in Super Troopers 2 they have the end of the movie, they have an after credit thing. I think while the credits are playing, like a blooper reel, and also at the end of the movie they have another blooper. So It's filled with bloopers, this film. Just when the credits are rolling, you stay there, and then after the credits stop rolling, you don't go anywhere because you gotta see some more fun. It's just quite funny and quite moving at times. It's not expecting to be like Avengers. It's not expecting to be anything as big as Avengers. Avengers is its own film, and lots of people are excited to see that one. I think at the moment it's playing in Cinema Europa, and it's playing in quite a number of cinemas. Or I think a couple of cinemas have got rid of it because it's not as popular at the moment. But I think it had a good run here. It did find a bit of an audience, and a couple of people did find out it was on, so they went and go and see it. Especially if especially if fans of films with their previous work, they would have totally went to see this film and totally had a good time because they all love those type of films. So yeah, it was really fun. Did enjoy it, and I'm expecting people to go see it. Hopefully, 'cause you'll have a fun time with it, and I certainly did. Especially if you're fans of police comedies and other things like that. And I did like the Dukes of Hazzard, so that's why I did like it. But I don't think I've seen it recently, but I have seen it quite a while ago and did thoroughly enjoy it. Alright, I think I'm going to finish up my Super Troopers 2 review. I will give it a 7 out of 10. Now I'm going to review Ready Player One. Now I saw Ready Player One a while back, maybe a couple of weeks ago. I did really enjoy it. It was nicely done and quite an exciting movie by Steven Spielberg. So basically, the massive video game adaptation of a famous book has been made into the movie. So the story of the film is set in 2045, many years into the future. And basically, cities all over the world have become hard to live in. So many of the people living in the cities escape the real world and go into a virtual reality world called the Oasis. And then the co-founder, James Halliday, makes a competition which involves players, and they have to find an Easter egg. And if they find the Easter egg, they will have full ownership of the Oasis and have full control over it. So basically, the story starts off with Ty Sheridan plays Wade Watts. He is a 17-year-old who lives in Columbus, Ohio, with his auntie, I think. And then he sets off a quest. He finds this girl, played by Olivia Cook, who's her character named Artemis. And they become a bit of a relationship, romance there. And then after that, he just tries to save the Oasis. And it involves, this film's full of lots of massive characters like King Kong and everything like that. It's quite an amazing film with pop culture references. And one of the most famous scenes, exciting scenes in this film would be the scene where they actually did a thing to The Shining, which is that Jack Nicholson very famous film. And in this film, they did like a thing for it. Not going to spoil it, but it was nicely done. It really was a great scene in the film. And this film, it's quite over long. It goes for about 2 hours, 20 minutes. And the film stars quite famous names. You've got Yeah, it's directed by Steven Spielberg, and he was working on The Post. He was working on 2 films at once when he directed this. He was working on The Post, and he also worked on Ready Player One about the same time. So this film also stars Latia Wright, who was also in Black Panther. She plays Reb. And Hannah John Kamen's also in this film. She was actually in Tomb Raider and gonna be in Ant-Man and the Wasp as well. She was alright in this film, I guess. Yep, and you've got TJ Miller's also in this film. He plays one of the characters. You know, always great characters. You've seen him in Deadpool, Big Hero 6, Office Christmas Party, countless other movies. He always does a good job. You've also got Ben Mendelsohn in this film, as known for Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and The Dark Knight Rises and Darkest Hour, Robin Hood. He's known for some big films, and he's also an Australian. Yeah. And he's a Golden Globe nominee. Well, this film also stars countless other people. You've got McKenna Grace, who you've known from... She was in Gifted, I think, with Chris Evans. I, Tonya. Designated Survivor, which is a series by Kiefer Sutherland. And Simon Pegg is also in this film. He does a good job at establishing He does a good job in the film. He's not in it for that long, but his character's quite a interesting guy. And I did enjoy his little part there. So this whole film's fun. I mean, it's just a great fun movie, especially if you're a fan of video games like that and everything like that, basically. So basically, if you're a fan of those, this film won't disappoint. It will just make you have a good time. So I'll probably wrap up my Ready Player One review. I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, because it's under the sort of the same thing. Like, I enjoyed them the same way. Avengers and Ready Player One, they're both done quite brilliantly in my opinion. And I know Super Troopers, fall down by 2 ratings because it was just fun. It wasn't as good as Ready Player One or anything like that. But it still was a quite solid movie, and didn't mind Super Troopers, but Ready Player One, that did exceed my expectations. When I came into it, I thought, yes, Steven Spielberg is a good director, and I thought, hopefully it'll work, but the trailer didn't really seem like it was going to be a really big type of film. But when I went to watch it in the theatre, I really exceeded my expectations, just like Avengers. Oh no, not really just like Avengers, because I knew Avengers were going to be as good as it was, because it was done really nicely. And when I went to see Ready Player One, I think it's actually grossed a lot of money as well, because there were quite a number of people in the cinema when I saw it on school holidays. And it was done nicely. Nothing was wrong. It was just all done nicely in the whole film. Alright, I'll wrap up my Ready Player One review. Now we're moving on to my Rampage review. Now, Rampage, it basically tells the story of primatologist Davis Okoye, and he shares a bond with George, who's an intelligent gorilla, and he's been in his care since birth, because he's basically a primatologist and he works in a zoo. but then a experiment goes sort of wrong, and then he transforms into this ape. It transforms from a gentle ape into a raging monster, and then it takes down destruction of Chicago and everything like that. So it's quite exciting. And as their newly created monsters tear across North America, Chicago, and everything, they basically destroy everything. So basically, Okoye teams with a genetic engineer to secure an antidote, fighting his way through an ever-changing battlefield, not only to halt a global catastrophe, but to save the creature that was once his friend. So basically, Dwayne Johnson absolutely does a great job here. It's directed by Brad Payton, who you've known, who actually has worked on San Andreas and Journey to the Mysterious Island. I basically thoroughly enjoyed those both films, so I knew when I was going into Rampage that I would totally enjoy it, and I wasn't wrong. I had a really fun time at Rampage, and I really thought it was better than I expected. Well, not really. I thought it'd be really, really good, and it was. It's just action from start to finish. It rocks, you know? You've got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he makes almost every great film. And it's based on a video game. So basically, this whole film is based on that. And, you know, you got big crocodiles, you got big monsters, gorillas. What more can you not want? It's just a big, massive movie. So when man interferes with nature, it always goes wrong. You think people would learn, but why do they have to when Dwayne Johnson's there to save the day? Yes, absolutely. He saves the day in lots of big ways. This is a massive type of film. It's just massive in it. Entertaining as well. Actually, I did laugh quite a bit in this film. It's a quite funny film, and lots of the actors do great performances. Like, you've got Dwayne Johnson, Davis Okoye. Every time he's on screen, he nails it. You know, he like chokes out this guy, and it's so amazing, that scene. I really liked it. And then his relationship between not a relationship type of thing, but his friendship between Naomi Harris was done quite nicely. I thought they both did a good performance, and he just nails it every way. He just picks up this gun at the end, and the final sequence, which goes for at least 15 to 20 minutes, where the whole monsters are destroying Chicago. How can you not like it? It's just fun. It's an exciting scene in the film. It's totally entertaining. I was just glued to the screen. It's done nicely. And then you've got also Malin Ackerman's in this film. She plays Claire Wyden. Now, her playing the villain, she was pretty bad, to be honest. She wasn't doing a good role. And every time they were on screen, I was just like, oh yeah, bring out Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, so we can see his charisma and not this other girl who just did nothing to the performance. And he also there was a brother or sister team who run this company, and that Jake Lacey's also there. But what I really did like was the accent of this guy. His name's Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and you would have known him if you're a fan of The Walking Dead. And he plays Harvey Russell. He plays this FBI agent, and he totally does a great thing. He helps them and stuff. He's doing a good thing all the way. And then you've also got Joe Manganiello in this film. You've seen him Magic Mike and a couple other films. He plays one of the people who works for Malin Ackerman and Jake Lacey's characters. This is truly an exciting film. I thought this is just truly exciting. It's just, it's just what you want to see. I mean, Warner Brothers, New Line Cinema, they've all delivered us some great monster flicks in the past, and this one doesn't disappoint. It's from the same studio brought you Kong Skull Island and Godzilla. So they've both been really great films. I've both thoroughly enjoyed those. It's just a really nice science fiction monster film. It's brilliant because Dwayne Johnson, half the time he makes films, he always brings his charisma to the role, and big meets bigger. He just makes this whole film powerful, and it made about 336 million worldwide, making it the eighth highest grossing film of 2018. Just powerful. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's performances and Dwayne Johnson's performances certainly make the film fun. But don't forget Naomi Harris. I didn't mind her either. She doesn't do a bad job to the role. She does a nice performance. It was just an exciting film by both of them. They really do make this film powerful. And I also saw Pacific Rim Uprising earlier, and I thought that this film was so more exciting than Pacific Rim Uprising. I didn't hate Pacific Rim Uprising, but I thought this film was more interesting than it. Pacific Rim Uprising had lots of faults, but this has not many faults. It's just fun. I don't think I've ended up reviewing Pacific Rim Uprising, but I'll make sure to review it real soon. And also, I really liked the connection between Dwayne Johnson and the ape George. They had a nice connection. So he uses sign language to converse with a albino gorilla. And he's just, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he's a good old boy German government troubleshooter. So he basically owned the CIA and all that. They are owner of a $1 billion biotech company who's Malin Ackerman, she's been known for quite a number of roles recently. She's not a bad person at all. Oh, so good. And the British actress Naomi Harris, get back to her. She is basically one of the researchers, and she worked in the company. She certainly did nail her role as well. Not nail it, but do a great performance. And she's just as good as you saw her in Skyfall. She does a really nice performance there. The film has nice humour as well. They throw the middle finger in a couple of times, and as you're laughing, it's just a fun type of movie. And I'm a fan of Brad Payton's work, so I did really like the film. Had a great time with it, actually. I mean, when you got Dwayne Johnson and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, it's the perfect combo of people. So you can't say when it's got those two big actors that it's not going to be good. And I certainly thought it was really done well. It was really good. Okay, I'll finish up my Rampage review. Probably give it an 8.5 out of 10. Next up, my review of Blockers. So basically, Blockers is a new comedy, and I really did like it because it has a mix of heart and humour. So basically, most recent crude comedies don't have heart in them. They just have lots of crude humour and not that much of a story. Blockers is different. In my opinion, it's one of the funniest and best comedies this year. It would be. I really did have a great fun time with this film. So basically the story is 3 girls who've been best friends since elementary school agree to each have sex with their dates on prom night. Their parents find out about the plan through using Julie's laptop, and they decide they must stop this from happening. So they try to block them. Now this plot's pretty simple, and I liked at the start where they actually established characters. So you got John Cena and his Indian wife, and they have a scene at the start with the daughter, with Kayla, yep. So that's great when they start establishing the characters, and that's what they did well. And I really did like Ike Barinholtz as well. Ike Barinholtz's story is quite different and quite interesting, and he's quite funny guy. I did enjoy his humour in here. And obviously John Cena. And Leslie Mann and Julie have a nice... At the start, they have a nice relationship together, like a daughter and a mother and daughter relationship. So basically, let's be clear, this is a comedy, but it's also a drama in lots of ways. This scene sort of, lifts the, sort of cracks different topics, and can't really think about this word, but it really had me laughing hard. It really had me laughing. It's just quite funny movie. And I mean, this movie has heart as well. Like, each parent-daughter relationship feels real and it doesn't feel fake. I thought the acting by John Cena, Leslie Mann, Catherine Newton and Ike Barinholtz, they all did great performances. And Geraldine Viswanathan, who plays Kayla. It's a good movie. I really did have fun with it. It's not a bad movie. It has a warm message as well, and it's done well. And I really thought it exceeded my expectations, because I wasn't really expecting a really, really funny type of comedy. I expected it to be funny, but not as funny as it actually meant to be, as it actually turned out to be. It was just really hilarious. And it starts off as one of those, high school movies, but not really, because it establishes all the parents and everything like that. And the parents try to block them. I mean, that's just hilarious. All of them just try to do these outrageous things. That's the word I'm trying to think of. Outrageous. So basically the whole film's sort of outrageous in lots of ways. So basically, on an emotional level, all the parents, they're trying to connect with their kids. And really, it was good. But, I didn't think it was like one of those raunchy comedy type of things. It does have raunchy comedy in it, but it doesn't feel like... It feels like more like a relationship, daughter, between dads and mum and all these things. And it wasn't that bad. It really was nice, and I enjoyed it. I thought the editing was a bit... I don't know, like, how the movie ends was quite weird. Should have gone on for maybe another 20 minutes. I would have liked that. But the movie probably finishes at the right time. And it's from the director. Oh no, it's a directorial debut. So Kay Cannon. She was basically a writer and a producer of the Pitch Perfect movies. And I think it was on Saturday, wasn't it? Yep, and she was she does have a good direction on this film. She knows how to take the film, and she takes it in a way that she wants to. She was saying in an interview that she portrayed the movie just like her teen life or something. So she does it. She just does it, and I thought John Cena, like Baron Holtz, Leslie Mann, they're all connected with each other. And they do establish a long time friendship because they're daughters. And at the start, they don't really know each other, but now they're starting to really know each other. So basically, Lisa, she's played by Leslie Mann. She's a lonely single mum. She divorced her husband, and she's really close to her daughter. So she doesn't want to let Julie go away to prom, go away to college. Sorry. And Hunter, he's divorced from his daughter's mother, and he tries to be a fun and completely supportive parent. Tries to be, and he redeems himself. He's actually not a bad parent. And Mitchell, played by John Cena, as you can expect, a WWE superstar, obviously is going to be overprotective over his daughter. And in this film, he certainly just does that. And I did like his performance. It was very, very funny. He's just a great guy. So basically, it starts off on the day of their high school prom. Julie tells her friends, Kayla and Sam, that she decided to give her virginity to her boyfriend that night after the dance. And Kayla embraces the idea for herself and her date. But Sam Sam isn't that comfortable doing that. She's a bit hesitant and seeming to have her mind on something else. But eventually, she decides to follow the sex pact, which Julie, Sam, and Kayla both end up doing. So yeah, it's just hilarious. It's funny. It's open-minded. It can be empowering at times. It's empowering for women, I'd say, because certainly it's like American Pie, I guess. But for women, it's a good film embracing women because there's not men don't really get a shining light in it. No, not really like boys. It's not about teen boys. It's all about the girls and everything about them. And that was quite nicely done. And what they did in it was great, in my opinion. And it also feels some supporting people. Like, you've got Hannibal Buress. You've seen him in Baywatch recently. I think he was in another film as well. He's a funny type of guy. And he plays Sam's wife. Sam's mum, she divorces Hunter. So the new husband is played by Hannibal Buress. And then you got Gary Cole, who's also there. You've seen him. He's quite a funny guy, and he has a funny scene in this film. It's quite a hilarious film. It's all done nicely. And I like that it had a moral to the story. And I'm sure that lots of people have had fun with it, and lots of people haven't really hated it at times. From the, when they discover the computer to the scene you've seen in the trailer where John Cena does this butt-chugging contest at a teen party. Oh, that was hilarious. When I was watching that on the screen, I just kept on laughing because it's just hysterical. This whole film is done really nicely, and the whole film is just excellent in every way. You wouldn't say it's just excellent, lots of people wouldn't say rush out to the theatre, but I'm certainly going to. I think that lots of mums and dads should take their teen son or daughter to the film because it certainly is a nice relationship type of movie between mother and son. But also, it's a film to go, especially girls, if you're about 15, 16, to go after school or on a weekend to experience some fun from Blockers. You certainly will have a fun time out with your friends. Certainly, it doesn't disappoint. I thought that hardly disappointed. It just was really nicely done. I thought that the whole film was nice and was done nicely. Okay, so I think I'll wrap up my Blockers review. I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. Yes, because the comedy just lifted this film and it made it more powerful than it already is. Just was done excellently. It was so good. I did really enjoy it. And I think it's still showing at lots of theatres, so get out before it goes. Alright, so I think had a good run here. I think I'm gonna see you next week for 2Sweet movie reviews.